Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Royal Gypsy Hood. My name is Rafa Mama, and I am an astrologer and holistic healer. I have been in the holistic healing industry for 20 years. I specialize in injury rehab, frequency therapy. I work with both humans and horses. I've done a few dogs. Um, but yeah, so we're going to get talking about career astrology. And as you can see, you know, frequency is at my ascendant. So, life led me to working with frequency. Okay. And it was not a choice I made off of my chart. It was just something that I was guided to, and my chart just validates it, you know. So ascendant, of course, is one placement that you would look at. It's not the first and foremost placement that people think of when we talk about, looking for career markers in astrology. But yes, ascendant is one of them. The first one that everybody automatically thinks of is the 10th house. So even if you have an empty 10th house like I do, mine is just barely over there. I'm a 22-degree rising and a 24-degree sun. You're back. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So my sun just creeps over the edge there into my 11th house, which deals with the social media, right? Society. But we can still look at the fact that the 10th house, not only it begins with Leo. I'm using an equal house chart here, okay? But the majority of the 10th house is also Virgo. And so I'm going to give examples of, how my life purpose and career has really aligned up with my chart, and how before I ever got deep into my astrological studies, I was already being led and guided, even as a small child, in this direction. Okay. So yeah, again, like from my chart, here we have Leo and Virgo, right? In the 10th house. And so that gives us something else to look at. We would want to go ahead and look at that 6th house of Virgo and the 5th and the 6th house, Leo, Virgo. In my chart, it's, a little Pisces, Aries, and Taurus energy, okay? So that gives more indications, which I will get to. All right. So yes, another big marker that we're looking at is the 6th house, just in general, because this is the house of your daily activities, routine, your self-mastery, things that you practice on a daily. Or, it's work. It is work, right? It's also your health and wellness. Oftentimes what we do for a living is very much highly linked with our health and wellness. Okay. Oh, I sit too much. I have this compressed disc. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm on the computer all day. I have this hunched back, or I have this migraine, or, whatever it is that we are doing, practicing on a daily basis, in the 6th house there, that contributes to our health and wellness. All right. Now for me, I have moon in the 6th house. And so that tells you a little bit, and it's in Taurus. And so we would be looking at both of those things, because we're combining Virgo energy with Taurus energy and Cancer energy. Okay. So when you put that together, it's all about the moon rules over the stomach. Virgo, rules over the intestines. Taurus rules over the first step of digestion is the chewing, right? Food, right? So nutrition is involved here, both with being the 6th house and having Taurus there. Herbs, are big when it comes to, earth signs. Okay. And so that is going to give some indication, whatever you have in the sixth house and whatever planets you have in there and whatever sign is in there, right? This is another indication. Now, my sixth house starts with Aries. I have been self-employed for 20 years. Okay. Aries rules over the self. Aries is, career business oriented. Aries is wands, in tarot. Now, if we take the ruler of Aries, Mars, we also have Mars in the ninth house. And even though this is the ninth house, not the typical 10th house, right? We also look at MC, which brings over that 10th house energy, is your public image, right? And so again, that's indication of self-employment, leadership with Leo, and Aries, so being self-directed. Okay. Now in this chart, you can see that there are some squares, and it's the apex of that T square. Okay, the T square represents a challenge, obstacles, difficulty, more time to build, right? To discipline oneself. All right. But yeah, so again, it's 10th house. We're looking at 10th house placements, not just the planets, but the house, the sign as well. We're looking at 6th house placement, the planets and the signs, and then anything that leads us to another planet to look at for additional reference, right? And like I said, we look at the ascendant. What do I work with? Frequency. This is my tool of alchemy when I do my injury rehab work. Okay. And also I use frequency for, as they would say, occult, so to speak, right? When I do my spiritual work, my mystic work, right? I work with my frequency, and also to regulate the nervous system, and to what is in the opposition of this ascendant, Chiron. So beyond the 10th house, the MC, the 6th house, the ascendant, how people see you every day, we're also looking at the 2nd house, which is going to give us some indications of how you make your money. Okay. And then beyond those just basic placements, well, before I get there, of course, you might look at Saturn, even though Saturn is the area of your life where you may experience some blockages, where you're building for longevity. Okay. And of course, where your sun is, and mine is in Virgo. Okay. And so that tells us too that it's got something to do with your daily life routine. My own self-care, self-wellness has become my career. Okay. And how we nurture ourselves, how we heal. Between the moon and Chiron, beyond the placements, we look at the aspects. In this chart, there is a finger of God that is pointing at that Chiron line, or at that Chiron placement. Okay. It's not just the finger of God, which is the green dotted lines, but because there's the exact opposition here at the ascendant, they call that a boomerang. It's like the energy booms back and forth. And so again, although we do look at career for 10th house, mine happens to match up. It's already bringing Virgo into the picture. We look at the 6th house for how we how we get to that place. So the six houses are studies, right? Of course, you know, and I say studies in the term in the way of not educational via like um, indoctrination like books, but through practical application like an apprenticeship, right? So there's these little nuances that make the science just slightly different. We're dealing with different elements, but because they all aspect each other, right? We're all in the same wheel, and so it's all one. And so they have their interminglings together. Okay, so in this particular chart here, now I'm going to tell you what. Okay, back to my sentence. That yod plays a huge role, okay, in how I would capitalize with, you know, my legacy that I leave behind in what I'm known for, and also, you know, my independence, my heart, you know, of service, which is Virgo, okay, and my teachings, because it's conjunct the MC. So we're combining all that together. The North Node is right here too. So of course, we're paying attention to the North and South Node when it comes to career and purpose, okay? So you see, it's not just one dimensional, okay? Sometimes it gives you a full story that plays out, okay? People know me one-on-one here because it's like, oh yeah, she works with that frequency. People who don't know me but see me out in the public, you know, they might see me doing my marketing and things, and so they see me as that one independent contractor, you know what I'm saying? That's usually out there smiling, kind of bouncing around and doing her service, her healing work, Virgo, okay? And the frequency here with the South Node being in Aquarius, all right, and in the third house, that's more indication that in my past life, like, you know, I've worked with frequency. Most definitely, I carry that resonance with me with Uranus on my ascendant. I work with frequency. I alchemize frequency, right? Or people's frequencies, or just frequencies of situations, you know. And then, yeah, so the North and the South Node, right? They both give indication of like, okay, what can you bring from here and pull it up into here? Oh, you should be teaching about these frequencies, okay? So when I was a little girl, I had questions. I was planning already as a child. Not everybody is this. I mean, it's a scorpionic nature, and it's the overthinking of a Virgo, you know. But I used to plan for welcome indigo child. I was sorting out brainstorming for many years. What do I want to be when I grow up? You know, it's that age-old question. All kids are, what do you want to be when you grow up? You know, giving them something to aspire to. And I thought, well, I want to be, I might want to be a teacher because I really loved and adored and wanted to help my teacher. I used to stay after school and everything. And I respected her. And so I thought, oh, I might like to teach. Or I knew I was very soft, empathetic. And I was like, maybe I'd want to help people emotionally and be a counselor or psychologist. You know, I thought about that. First of all, you know, I thought, okay, I ended up deciding teachers don't make enough money. And psychologists take on a lot of burden, and I thought, you know, because at that point in my life, I was, as being younger, I absorbed more, and it took age and experience to learn how to observe more than absorb. So I thought, no, that would make me sad every day. Dealing with being a psychologist. And then I thought I'd like to be like a nurse or doctor because I was very fascinated with the human body. And then, I just thought, I don't know, because like trauma because I'm so sensitive, right? This is very sentient. Having the moon in the sixth house and in Taurus, which rules over the senses, this is very sentient. So like if people, if people are hurt, if I see an open wound, like I feel it literally in my gut and my stomach, like I feel it, you know what I mean? And so I thought maybe a doctor wouldn't work out because, or a nurse, because they take, they take blood and they do shots and they deal with like traumatic wounds, and I didn't think I could handle that. Well, what ended up happening, innately, intuitively, I knew who I was and what I was here to do, but it came out different. It's not in the same way that a typical role in society where it only limits you to one identity, right? For me, I ended up becoming all three: a counselor, holistic, into holistic health, healing, right? Working with clients on healing injury. And I worked with, so not injury that's open gaping wounds, but after the fact, more of on the orthopedic level, right? So we're helping with like realignment and scar tissue, and I deal more with recovery, right? And so I ended up and teaching, because number one, I've been teaching my clients for years, holistic healing tips, how to help themselves after they leave, so they don't keep like doing the same postural deviations that cause them to repeat these functions, patterns of dysfunction, right? And so now, me knowing that I have MC in the ninth house and in Leo, this square has always caused me to shy away from a spotlight. I kind of operated on this oppositional level right here, where it's like, somebody called me a hidden gem once. This is Venus. This is that gem, and it's hidden in the 12th house. But I bring the spiritual gifts, right? Again, this is the senses too, Venus, but also the ability to feel very deeply, okay? And that's what kind of sets me on a different plane when it comes to my healing work, that I'm able to address and to feel, because I'm able, it's in my awareness, right? Once I feel it, to address certain issues. And so I've operated in this where it's like, okay, Virgo is just a little workhorse, and so is Taurus, and I've shied away from this, which is being seen in the spotlight. When I was younger, I used to shy away from the spotlight a lot. It took me a lot to get to this point, even in the last 10 years. The last time now, the transit nodes currently, and you'll want to look at the transits to see where they're hitting, especially the nodes, to see where they're hitting your chart, to see what phase of your career you're being activated in. Is it the apprenticeship phase? Is it the study phase? Is it the mastery phase? Is it the teaching phase? Okay, so it's not a one-dimensional kind of linear thing that we're dealing with when we talk about career and purpose with astrology, okay? Because we do go through different phases of our lives, and we do, master different skills in our lives, and we do play different roles along the way. And so that's where the transits come in, and that's where your progress chart comes in as well. But just to summarize, if you've just entered the room, some of the things that we look at when we're talking about career and purpose would be the 10th house, whether it's empty or not, and we look at the signs that are in there. We look at the 6th house to see what is our where's kind of like the area of mastery where we've routinely repeated a skill over and over again, you know, or where we have just had experience in practical application. Okay, we look at the North Node here, okay, which is going to tell you, oh, it's in the 9th house. This person is probably intended to travel, okay, and that might contribute to success in career as well, okay, besides being seen, letting your light shine, being independent, you know, being confident. Like all of that is the expression, expressing that positive Leo and Martian energy out of this T square. Expressing this energy is where the outlet is going to relieve the pressure that is occurring here, okay? We also look at the South Node to see what kind of skills we can take with us into our North Node endeavors, okay? We look at the Ascendant here to see, well, how do other people see us and how does that benefit and play to our role? As I mentioned, because I have Uranus on my Ascendant, people know me as the frequency lady because I, you know, I work with frequency for a living, okay? And also, you know, people know me as the healer because I have this yod, a finger of God. It's a destiny point. We don't only look at placements and houses, but we look at the aspects and the picture that's being painted, and the code that we have to decode to give us more insight and really validation of the things that innately we know in our spirit that this is who I am. You don't need to see the chart to feel the energies inside of you, but sometimes we doubt ourselves, right? So for instance, me being in my comfort zone, which is Taurus, doing my service work in the 6th house as a sun in Virgo, you know, for the collective in 11th house, that always was where I preferred to be, right? And not so much in the spotlight. And yet the only way that I would end up progressing in you know, evolving in through my journey was if I take it away, beyond, I should say, not away from, but beyond this 6th house energy to what's difficult for me to be public, to be seen, okay? And even to travel alone, okay? And these are some beyond, again, I keep saying beyond, beyond just the purpose, it's how do we get there, okay? And the chart shows us, it helps us to decipher, okay, what are the areas of challenge? Even sometimes it's personal challenges that end up affecting our career life, right? And so we have to look at everything holistically, even down to including our health and how our career choice impacts our health. It's very, very crucial. All right, so I hope that was interesting to you guys as a kind of sample, you know, example of Capricorn as well. Of course, you know, we always want to see what house Capricorn is in. Okay, because that brings more of that 10th house energy, career and legacy, here into the 2nd and the 3rd house. So it brings in more mutual reception with the 2nd house already, you know, being ruled by Taurus universally, already playing an effect Okay. And so this also gives us indication that, hey, over time, okay, I have Venus in 12th house. Am I going to be quick rich overnight? Probably not. But walking in my destiny in that North Node is helping me to utilize my skills here, right? And experience to, as I age and become a veteran in my, well seasoned in my field, I can capitalize and have stability, potentially even work as a teacher for a institution. Okay, because second house in Taurus does rule over institutions. So yeah, fun facts. Just a few things to look at here. Again, everybody's chart is different, so we're gonna notice different things that will be career related, and how it pops out, and how it operates will, it's like adjusts, it changes. It's flexible when it comes to, how the aspects are laid out in each individual's chart. But those are some basic things to look at that give us leads, okay, into a person's divine purpose and the career field that best suits them on this, life's journey. I hope that helped you out, my friends, very much so. And with that being said, no, and peace be unto you.